We're going to start now. Oh, thank you. So that's my first thing. We are recording this session, so we will put on our website as well, so more people can see this important day for NNECL, really. So welcome everyone to the NNECL Quality Mark launch and the confirmation event of the two pilots. I'm really proud this day because I remember in 2000, I think it was 2011, in De Montfort University, a very small group of people, including myself, met, huddled around a classroom and talked about NNECL. And over the years, we've gone from strength to strength. And now we're a charity with people working for us, fantastic people working for us as well. We have been talking about a quality mark for a very long time, since the Buttle Quality Mark finished, and today is the day. So, and it's really exciting to have so many people here to join us on this exciting day in NNECL's history. Just a few housekeeping things. We are, thank you, that's me. We are using the Zoom webinar today, so questions are difficult and we have got quite a tight program to get done in an hour. So if you have any questions, please do use info@nnecl.org and we will reply to them after the session or tomorrow. In fact, Sean will be doing that. If you have any want any further information that's not covered today on the quality mark, we are also doing an interactive webinar on the 13th of July, sorry. So details on the NNECL website. So if you want to book into that and find out more information on how you can get involved or become a NNECL quality mark holder, please do look on the website and join that webinar. Finally, there's a lot I could do. This sounds like a bit like the Oscars, but I could talk about thank yous, but we have to thank a number of people. Firstly, I'd like to thank Esme Fairburn, because actually without their core funding they provided us over the last few years, we wouldn't have people like Patricia and Sian and Moira working and doing the work that we've been able to progress NNECL so far in the last few years. That's been vital to the growth of NNECL and where we are at the moment. I'd also like to thank the funders of the initiative, the NNECL Quality Mark Initiative, UPP Foundation. They funded the initial development work and the first set of pilots in Greater Manchester, and the first pilot project we did as well. And both of these pilots will be rewarding today with the quality mark. I think we've got a lot to cover, so that's all from me at the moment. It's particularly good for me because obviously I work at a Greater Manchester University of Salford, and we were part of the Greater Manchester initiative. So this is all very exciting on two counts for me, both as a staff member that worked in a team getting this far, and for me as NNECL co-chair for the Board of Trustees. So without further ado, I will introduce you, now hand over to NNECL Director, Patricia Ambrose, to give a brief overview of the quality mark itself.
Okay, thank you very much, Aaron, and good afternoon, everyone. Absolutely delighted that you could join us today. I want to start just with a brief look at the legacy and development of the new quality mark. In 2018, NNECL took the decision, as Aaron has already said, to build on the previous excellent work by Buttle and to develop this new quality mark to support and empower care experienced students in higher and further education. This work has been shaped by research findings and most importantly by the views of care experienced students themselves on the types of support they most value and need. This includes, for example, having named contacts who provide proactive support and advice, admissions processes which take a rounded view of applicants and make use of contextual offers where appropriate, ensuring a smooth transition and welcome into higher education, providing additional funding, priority access to pastoral support services, enhanced careers guidance, and support to securing appropriate year-round accommodation when that's needed. We've also greatly benefited, as well as the funders, from the support and input of an advisory board of experts, including practitioners and representatives of sector organisations, all of whom helped to guide the initiative. Thanks to all of those advisory board members for their encouragement and engagement, and I think particularly to Frank Young from the Centre for Social Justice for chairing that group. As Aaron has mentioned, we were delighted to receive funding from the UPP Foundation to support the work, and the initial pilot ran from 2019 with a group of universities and colleges. Like so many things, the timing of the follow-on work was affected by COVID-19. There were other significant developments around that time, including the new developments with the access and participation plans in England and the requirement to consider care leavers within those plans. And in Scotland, universities and colleges introduced a guarantee to offer places to all care experienced applicants who meet minimum entry requirements. All of this and more led to further work on the quality mark, including a greater focus on mental health and well-being and the development of more contextualised written guidance. We subsequently ran a collaborative trial of the revised quality mark earlier this year, funded by the Greater Manchester Combined Authority as part of their extensive programme of work to support care experienced people. We worked with a group of universities and colleges in the Northwest, building on the already high level of collaboration and support in place across Greater Manchester, from Greater Manchester Higher, the UniConnect partnership, and also the Greater Manchester Care Leaver Progression Partnership. The project has successfully concluded, and we're here today to launch the quality mark with rollout planned from early autumn. We've recruited an excellent team of assessors to work with us, and we'll be offering the quality mark either on an individual or a collaborative basis. And I'm delighted to say that we've already started to get some expressions of interest coming in. So what does the quality mark actually comprise? If we go on to the next slide, you can see that this illustrates the 7 areas covered by the new award. It's designed to be an in-depth and holistic self-assessment across these areas, covering the student life cycle from pre-entry outreach through to graduation and beyond. It also includes sections on institutional culture and leadership, collaboration and partnerships, and most importantly, a commitment to ongoing evaluation and improvement. Each of the 7 areas contains 3 or 4 criteria against which institutions provide evidence of their practice. For each of these criteria, the guidance document gives illustrative examples of the kinds of evidence which could be included. Over time, we expect to share further examples of innovative and effective practice as more institutions go through the assessment. The whole process culminates in an action plan for institutions to continue to improve and refine the support being provided. We hope we've designed the quality mark to be proportionate and contextualised, reflecting the diversity of institutions across higher and further education, and also the different policy contexts of the 4 nations of the UK. Institutions will be awarded the quality mark for 3 years, with a midpoint light touch review of their action plan. I hope that's given you an initial idea of what the quality mark is about and what it entails. As Aaron said, there's a lot more information on the NNECL website, and do feel free to get in touch with us with any queries. I should also like to end this section with my particular thanks to our consultant, Moira Mitchell, for all of her hard work on developing the framework as it stands today, and also to Mike Hill, one of our trustees, for his support and insights throughout the process. And now, moving on to the next section of our programme, I'm absolutely delighted to welcome Chris Millward, Director for Fair Access and Participation at the Office for Students, who is going to give us the first keynote. Thanks. Over to you, Chris.
Okay, thanks, Patricia, and thanks to Aaron for the introduction. So there's been a lot of discussion this week about educational disadvantage. And I think it's on that basis really timely to think about students with experience of care. As you might have seen from this week's Education Select Committee report, white students eligible for free school meals have an entry rate to higher education of only 16%, but that is still higher than the 13% rate for students who've been looked after by local authorities continuously for more than 12 months. So there's a lot more for us to do to improve access to higher education for this group, particularly through universities and colleges working collaboratively with local authorities to help students make sense of the system, to create clearer pathways that give clarity for students about the academic, financial and personal support that will be available to them. OFS received some good advice from NNECL on this through a study they conducted for us earlier in the year, and we're expecting to commission some local partnerships to take it further later in 2021. Getting into university is, of course, just one part of the challenge for care experienced students. We know from experimental data published by OFS that the dropout rate for care experienced students is 6 percentage points higher than it is for other students. But if they complete their studies, these students are actually more likely than others to move into a highly skilled job. So higher education is transformative often for care experienced students. It enables them to transcend the disadvantages earlier in their lives. But unlocking that, of course, requires the best possible support once they're on course. That's been more than important than ever during the pandemic. Just think how reliant most of us have been on the limited social interactions we've had over the last year for our well-being and indeed for tackling some basic logistical problems of living and working under lockdown. A lot of the coverage of higher education during the last year has been focused on students moving between family and university homes. But for students who've been in care, the challenges have been much greater because their university and their friends have had to do what families have been doing for many others. We know from surveys during the last year that these students have been particularly concerned about accommodation, space to work, and connectivity for online and blended learning, about their finances in the absence of other earning opportunities and reliance often on benefits, and indeed their state of mind given isolation and the pressures of their situation. So I'm pleased in that context more than ever to see how the quality mark will prompt and recognise the universities that are supporting students well. That's crucial for the students concerned, but it's also crucial for the contribution those students make to other students in universities, to staff in universities and colleagues in the places where they work, through the value their life experiences and their perspectives bring to other people they're spending time with. So congratulations to NNECL, congratulations to all of you getting recognition and the quality mark today. I hope it's a great event. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Chris, for those really thoughtful words, and I think particularly for highlighting the contribution and understanding of care experienced students that actually benefits everybody in higher education. We're now moving on to make the first set of the Quality Mark Awards to the initial pilot institutions, and these will be presented by our co-chair, Aaron. So over to you, Aaron.
Thank you, Patricia. The first set of awards go to the initial pilot institutions who worked with us in late 2019. Their engagement helped us develop and refine the quality mark further, and we thank them for their enthusiasm and commitments to working with us from the early stages of the project. The way I'm going to do this is I'm going to introduce each institution, and then I'm going to pause for a little while. It probably seems like ages, but it won't be a little while, because there are some comments on the screen that we encourage you to read, written by those institutions about the quality mark and the process of going through it. So and these are in alphabetical order, by the way, so there's no first, second, third, or fourth. They're in complete alphabetical random order. So the first award goes to Bolton College. The next award goes to Edge Hill University. The next award goes to Halesowen College. The next award goes to Kingston University. The next award goes to Oxford Brookes University. The next award goes to Sunderland College. The next award goes to University of Bradford. The next award goes to University of Exeter. The next award goes to the University of Lincoln. And the final award, but not the least, is University of Nottingham. UK, China, Malaysia. So congratulations to all those initial pilot universities. They really were instrumental in getting this award off the ground. And back to Patricia.
Okay, thanks, Aaron, and also just to add my congratulations to all of those institutions, I think, for their patience over what's been a very challenging 18 months or so for the whole of the UK and the world, for that matter. For the next section of our programme, we wanted to give you a flavour of how it actually feels to go through the process. So our colleague Moira Mitchell, who worked on the development of the quality mark, will now lead a conversation with two of the participants from the Greater Manchester project, Alan Benvey from Oldham College and Danny Mannion from the University of Bolton. So Moira, over to you.
Thank you very much, Patricia. And don't know about anyone else, but I was definitely clapping as each of those awards was announced there by Aaron. It's, you know, really fantastic to see the wonderful comments from all of our pilot participants. I worked on the second phase of the development of the quality mark, and I started that work during lockdown. So I've done all of the work that I've done with NNECL within this strange period that we've all lived through. And just one of the reflections I wanted to share with everyone was the absolute generosity of everybody involved in this line of work and in NNECL. It's really, I felt like I was sort of building on a body of work that's been going on for years, and people were so generous with their support and advice. And I feel that that's really reflected today with everyone present and the comments that are coming in. So it was my pleasure to work with the 8 institutions in Greater Manchester who were funded by the Combined Authority, who have a very strong offer that they're continuing to develop for care experienced people in Greater Manchester. And we've been working for some 6 months now, that has led to the awards that are being made today in a collaborative way, which has been a very interesting project, whereby each of the institutions has made their own individual submission, but we've worked collaboratively over a number of months, sort of sharing practice, having conversations and learning from each other. And I'm delighted today to be speaking to you with Alan Benvey, who's the assistant principal from Oldham College, and Danny Mannion from the University of Bolton. So if I can invite you both to join me, and I've got a few questions I wanted to put to you, and to start maybe with you, Alan, to ask you, what did you find most helpful about the engagement with the Quality Mark process?
Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks, Moira. Can I just say at the outset, Oldham College and University Campus Oldham, we jumped at the chance of being involved in the Quality Mark development with a little bit of trepidation, actually, not knowing quite what we were letting ourselves in for. But it's fair to say that we've gone through the process and come out even more enthusiastic to develop this work further than we were when we first started. I think a key thing for us was it's given us a focus to bring together all the support that we provide for care experienced young people across the two institutions, the college and UCO. And it's given us a professional framework to scope out what we could work on to improve. In fact, the action plan resulting from this is even perhaps more important than getting the accreditation itself. Mm. I think one of the beauties of the process is it's very comprehensive, but it's not overwhelming. And if you do it in bite-sized chunks, as I say, it will be very motivating. So it's helped us to bring together best practice from the FE world and the HE world, and also to sort of benchmark with and work with through the network other institutions in Greater Manchester, which has been invaluable, as has the support you provided, Moira.
Thank you. Thanks for that, Alan. Danny, did you want to add anything about what you found most helpful?
Yeah, so just to kind of echo what Alan said there, we were really eager to be involved as a widening participation institution, the University of Bolton. The thing that we found most useful about the whole process is the opportunities we had to work collaboratively and learn from best practice, not only from colleagues at NNECL, such as Moira, but also from all the other institutions in Greater Manchester who've been involved in this. We've had the opportunity to share where we've all maybe excelled and then learn from each other, and that's really just been so valuable. The other thing I would say is the Quality Mark guidance really looks at the student journey of care leavers holistically, so it gives you the opportunity to really dig into your provision within your institution and make sure that you're providing that good quality of support right from, the application stage through to the graduation of students as well.
That's brilliant, thank you. And Danny, we've said a lot of positives. What did you find most challenging about the process?
So our university, as I've said, is already very committed to supporting students from all backgrounds, and a lot of our policies and procedures reflect that. But when we were at the stage of considering all the evidence for the mark, we knew that we had all this fantastic work that we did with care experienced students, but they weren't always necessarily named specifically in the policies. And what we realised from that is that it gave us the opportunity to reflect not only on the support that we had available, but also the clarity and visibility of that support. And what we've moved on to now is we now have a cross-departmental working group with care experience champions in different departments right across the university. We're able to promote awareness of care experienced students and issues that they might be facing, and it's our aim to provide CPD for all of our staff, all of our student facing staff, to help them support students who are care experienced as well. So it's been a really interesting process, and even the challenges have given us something to work on.
Yeah, that's great. It's really interesting to hear what you say about evidence, because when we were developing this version of the quality mark, we were very keen to learn from the Office for Students and all the work done around access and participation plans and garnering evidence, and trying to make sure that this work wasn't an extra burden on institutions, but very much dovetailed with that collection of evidence to keep moving forward and improving things. What about it at Oldham, Alan? Did you have any particular challenges, or was it all smooth sailing?
I think the initial phase of setting up our steering group, and we have a great team from across the whole of Oldham College and University Campus Oldham, getting them established, many of whom are on this call, so hello to you and thank you. One of the other things about the measures, because they're interrelated, just as you think you've got all the evidence or got one area sussed, it's not until you get through all 7 that you appreciate there might be gaps further behind. So I think the interconnectedness of the measures is a strength, but also it's a challenge, because you've got to do this as a whole system approach. Data is an issue, and I think we've all in the network had data issues, which I think we've collectively tried to resolve. And then I mentioned it as a positive, but it's not been straightforward, integrating the FE and the HE requirements into one system that works for all care experienced people.
Yeah, thank you for that. And it's interesting that neither of you have mentioned COVID, and of course, you know, the greatest challenge that all institutions have had this year, and the fact that people have remained so positive through this, I think is really remarkable, a testimony to people's commitment to this agenda. So just looking forward then, Alan, how do you think the quality mark, I mean, you mentioned your action plan and the process you've been through, how do you think it will help your institution maintain the impetus to keep improving things for your care experienced students?
Well, within the time frame that we've worked on this, it has been limited, and as you said, it's been a COVID period, but we see this as the launch pad, and we aim by this time next year to be exceptional in all the measures. Our learners are already exceptional. It's how can we respond to them to make sure that the service is exceptional. I think the other thing is using this as leverage to work ever more closely with local authorities. And in Oldham, we're just about to launch a new pilot initiative with Oldham Council, where we're going above and beyond the requirements and having a new SLA where we'll be adding even more services to our care experienced young people. And so we want to use this to broadcast to the wider world that care experienced people are welcomed here, they'll be supported here, and we're not stopping at achieving the accreditation itself.
Oh, that's brilliant. I mean, certainly I was very impressed at the engagement of some of the local authorities with our collaboration. I mean, they came to our meetings, didn't they, and were great contributors to the whole process. What about Bolton, Danny? Do you feel you've got the impetus now going forward? Has the quality mark helped with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think as I said before, it provides that really clear framework for you to look at your provision as a whole, which is just one of the most sort of valuable things of it. I don't think I'm overstepping to say that all the institutions in Greater Manchester scored quite highly for their collaborative working.
I think you can share that one.
Okay, good. We do that quite well here in Greater Manchester, I think, especially when you look at the Care Experience Education Network, GMC, where we have local authorities, you know, we have charity organisations, and we have educational organisations right from, you know, secondary schools all the way through to universities on that. But there's always more that we can do, and I think the quality mark's given us a really good framework to use together to start discussions about how we can work as a group within Greater Manchester to improve support right across the board for all of our care experienced young people right across the region.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I think the role of the combined authority, you know, should be very much acknowledged as well. Yeah, thank you for that. So any final tips? I think we may have a few viewers who are thinking of submitting an expression of interest in the quality mark. Would you have any thoughts, recommendations, warnings that you'd issue?
Yeah, so the thing that I would say first of all is that you can't do it alone. You need to have support across your organisation. Both myself and Alan had the benefit of steering groups, working groups that were staffed by people in lots of different departments across the university. And we also, clearly had interest and buy-in from senior leadership within our institutions as well, which is so important for moving this work forwards. NNECL really helped us with that again. They, as part of the quality mark, helped us with a shared action plan, which we were able to, outline all the targets that we were setting for ourselves, look at what our success markers were going to be. And I think really importantly, and the key part here is that we had, space to talk about whose responsibility that was. And that just ensured that we had the accountability there to just really carry on driving that process and that progress forwards. And I think that that's something that we're going to keep continuing to use, just like Oldham there, we are wanting to move towards exceptional in all of those categories. So yeah, it's been a great tool for us to consider what we've been doing.
Thank you. Thanks, Danny. Alan, anything you'd like to add to anyone who might be thinking of?
No, I'd echo everything that Danny said, and it's where we take it further for GM. Just do it. Why would you not? What harm can it do? It can only help develop things further, and best of luck. And I'm sure those of us that have been through the process would be happy to share any hints and tips and things that we've learned along the way.
That's great. Thank you so much, both of you, for sharing those thoughts and your experiences. And we could have spoken to everyone in the partnership, but we don't have time today. But I would just like to give my thanks to everyone in Greater Manchester. It was a fantastic collaborative effort and great day to see everyone getting awarded the Quality Mark today. And hand back over to you, Patricia.
Okay, thank you very much, Moira, Alan and Danny, for those really thoughtful and encouraging insights into the whole process. And now, on behalf of NNECL, I'm really delighted to say that we have Andy Burnham, Mayor of Greater Manchester, here with us today for the second keynote. We've greatly valued the support from the Combined Authority for our collaborative project, which is one of a series of initiatives being funded by the authority. So thank you very much, Andy, for finding the time to join us today, and over to you.
Oh, thanks very much, Patricia. Good afternoon, everybody. It sounds like you've had a very productive day, and it's fantastic actually to be able to celebrate what has been happening in Greater Manchester with the development of the quality mark. And I'll come back to what's been going on with our education providers, but maybe just to if I could set it in the bigger picture first, in terms of the importance that we attach here in Greater Manchester to support all young people to achieve their potential. We have very deliberately, since we've kind of taken on the devolved powers that we have, made a point of saying that we want to make young people our priority for investment. I think sometimes at a national level, young people can be made a target for cuts. And in our view, we won't build the Greater Manchester that we want, where everyone is able to fulfil their potential, if we fail to support young people, particularly those with the greatest challenges at the earliest stages of their lives. And it's why we've had a very big focus on improving levels of school readiness. So we prepare all young people in the early years to get to primary school and be ready to learn with all of the language and the social skills that they need. And we've had a huge amount of effort in that area. But at the other end, we've also been thinking about life readiness of our teenagers. And it's within that we then started to think about priority groups. And of course, at the very forefront is young people who've been in care. and actually becoming much more, if you like, demanding of ourselves and everybody actually, for young people who've been in care. You know, we have to operate on the principle that, you know, we all have to provide that support that other young people will get from parents who they can fall back on at any time. I think while we all buy into it, are we as good corporate parents as we need to be? And the truth of the matter is, no, all of us can do more, and we need to join up the gaps and not make it a postcode lottery, actually, and make young people who've been in care kind of feel that there's a clear offer there for them, that there's an understanding of what they face when they deal with public bodies, and there is a kind of clear set of support that they can draw on. So, you know, we've been very enthusiastic in terms of our support for the Care Leavers Covenant at a national level. We you know, very much have signalled to the government that we want to be, if you like, the gold standard of implementation of the Care Leavers Covenant. And it's why I made a commitment in my first term as mayor, but have repeated in my recent manifesto, to bring forward a care leavers guarantee, so that we translate the covenant and all of the great words in the covenant into a practical and tangible set of commitments to our young people who are in care or leaving care, so that they can successfully make that transition and move on to the next phase of their life. And that's a commitment that covers financial support, obviously, but access to technology, free transport. So I've committed to providing our free bus pass, what we call the R pass, not just to 18 for care leavers, because that's what we do for everybody, but to 21 for young people who've been in care. And we've made that commitment quite recently. And free prescriptions and other, you know, we are looking at a whole range of support that can form part of that guarantee. And we have obviously a Care Leavers Board chaired by Care Leavers Trust Board, chaired by Councillor Eamon O'Brien and Paul Marshall, Director of Children's Services for Manchester City Council. And, you know, all of this is being overseen by them, but of course also the project that you've all been involved in. And I just want to say to the National Network of Education for Care Leavers, thank you for working with us and all of your support in terms of developing the charter mark. I know it's now been successfully trialled across the city region at 8 of our colleges and universities, and many of them already good and heart in the right place, but obviously by going through the process of the quality mark accreditation, maybe now even better in terms of what they do, and understanding that, let's be honest, the different needs of young people who've been in care, in making that kind of move from where they've been to successfully making the transition into higher education. Of course, there is a commitment from our councils to provide support with accommodation costs, and that's a big part of it. I think this is where it all comes together, isn't it? Where all public bodies, universities, councils, others recognise the commitment, and everyone raises their game together. That's how I think you make a difference, and you embed at the heart of all organisations what it is that we're trying to do, and we hope that what we've done will lead to more organisations coming on board. So we've been proud to fund this work through the Greater Manchester Combined Authority Care Leavers programme. Obviously, education is a fundamental part of ensuring that we put all young people on a successful path. We know that accessing higher education, further education, can be daunting for young people who've been in care. It can feel like a step too far, but it shouldn't be. And hopefully the charter mark can kind of overcome some of that, and to build confidence with people that they can progress, and also that colleges and universities can act as those corporate parents and provide that higher level of support for young people who are studying in their institutions. So I'm just really proud of what you've all achieved, actually. I'd like to thank colleagues at the NNECL, but also all of our universities and colleges that have been a part of this. I think we've got a fantastic team working on a whole set of issues facing care leavers in Greater Manchester. We do want to develop the Greater Manchester Care Leavers Guarantee so that we kind of let all young people here in our city region know where they stand and what they can call back on. One thing that I want to bring through is, and this very much came from care leavers themselves, we held a round table with a lot of young people who'd been in care. Actually, free prescriptions was one of the calls that they made, and we are progressing that. They also talked about how a young person should not be, a young person who's been in care should not be able to be declared that they'd made themselves intentionally homeless, as sometimes housing providers will say, because obviously given the challenges that they face, there may be many reasons why they're not able to hold down a tenancy in a way other young people with support of parents are able to do. But one final thing that is something that I'm very keen to progress is the call that we heard for a mentor that could be accessed 24/7. So in the same way that any young person can ring their mum or dad any hour of the day or night in those moments of crisis, whether we could provide the same. And I'd be interested to work with our colleges and universities to see if we can, identify a volunteer base of people who will provide that type of support. So I just think in this day and age, we all need that. I think, even my age, sometimes I'm ringing my mum and dad at all hours of the day, as the day and night. And I just think, given the way the world is these days, the challenges that we all face, the unpredictability of modern life, the financial stress that's very much on young people these days, having that ability just to speak to somebody at any moment of the day or night, and in a moment of crisis or fear or whatever it might be, just get that reassurance and that support. I think that's another part of what I would want to bring forward, and whether we can work with our education colleagues to see if we could start to make that a reality, perhaps for those in further and higher education to begin with, and then more broadly beyond. So by testing this approach here in Greater Manchester, we very much hope now that this quality mark will be taken up by colleges and universities more broadly across the country. We like to be a trailblazer here, as you know. It sounds like we've done that again with this. So I'm just going to finish there really and say I am very passionate about making progress in this territory. I think when we look at the need to support all young people, we've got to start with young people who've been in care. But if we get it right there, then I think we will get it right more broadly. We just know coming out of the pandemic that the challenge has got even greater. I think the impact on young people who've been in care is going to be more severe, possibly, in terms of the loss of confidence, the loss of a sense of future direction. This is a moment absolutely for all colleges and universities in Greater Manchester to be recognising that, improving the communication with young people who've been in care, improving the support. I hope the quality mark helps them do that. I'm pretty confident it will. Congratulations to all of you. And I'm very proud of what's been achieved here. But thank you for listening. And Patricia, I will hand back to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Andy. I really appreciate you taking the time to join us today. And we're now going to move on to make that second set of awards to the Greater Manchester institutions. And I'll hand over now to our other co-chair, Felicity Dunworth, to make these presentations. So Felicity, over to you, please.
Thank you, Patricia, and hello, everybody. I've been having a few internet issues, so I do hope people are able to hear me. But we've heard from Greater Manchester about the programme that's been running there. What it allowed us to do was to see how the quality mark can be developed on a collaborative basis amongst a group of institutions. And I have to say that the engagement as with all of the partners that we're awarding today, was exemplary. So I'm delighted to confirm the award of the Quality Mark. I'm going to follow Aaron's example and work as he did to the following institutions in alphabetical order. So, Manchester Metropolitan University, Oldham College, the Manchester College, the Trafford College Group, the University of Bolton, the University of Manchester, and last but indeed not least, the University of Salford. So many, many congratulations to all of you, and thank you so very much for all that hard work. Thank you so much. Back to you, Patricia.
Okay, thanks very much, Felicity. And just to add my congratulations as well to this second group of institutions. We've really enjoyed working with them. As Moira said, it's been a really interesting test of the Quality Mark and running it on a collaborative basis. So we're now coming to the end of our launch. Just to remind people that there is further information about the Quality Mark available on our website. And as previously mentioned, we will have a webinar on the 13th of July, which will be an opportunity for people to have a more interactive discussion and ask questions about the process. So thanks again, congratulations to all our participants. Special thanks to our guest speakers, funders, and all of you for attending today. Thank you very much and goodbye.